Have you ever pondered what makes Buddhism one of the most profound and widespread religions in the world? Buddhism, a religion that originated in ancient India, is a spiritual path followed by more than 500 million people worldwide. It's a religion that stands out for its practical focus on personal spiritual development and the attainment of a deep insight into the true nature of life. Buddhism doesn't advocate for the worship of deities or gods, but rather emphasizes the importance of understanding and overcoming suffering through wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. The teachings of Buddha, known as the Dharma, offer a unique perspective on life and existence, encouraging a path of mindfulness and compassion. Intriguing, isn't it? So, how did this profound philosophy come to be? What are its core teachings, and how did it spread across the globe? Let's delve into the captivating history of Buddhism and explore its origin. The root of Buddhism lies in the heart of ancient India, around the 5th to 4th century BCE. The story begins with a prince named Siddhartha Gautama. Born into luxury, Siddhartha lived a sheltered life, insulated from the suffering and hardships of the world outside his palace walls. However, during a rare excursion outside his royal confines, he was confronted with the harsh realities of life, old age, sickness, and death. This encounter sparked a profound change in Siddhartha. He renounced his royal status and embarked on a spiritual quest to understand the nature of human suffering. Siddhartha's journey saw him explore various spiritual paths, from self-deprivation to deep meditation. After many years, while meditating under a Bodhi tree, he achieved a state of deep understanding, known as enlightenment. From that moment, Siddhartha Gautama became known as the Buddha, meaning the enlightened one. But let's not overlook the socio-political environment of the time. India was in a state of flux. Traditional Vedic rituals and caste systems were being challenged. New philosophies and spiritual practices were emerging. In this backdrop, the Buddha's teachings, with their emphasis on personal exploration and self-realization, rather than blind adherence to ritual and caste, struck a chord with many. The Buddha spent the remaining 45 years of his life sharing his insights and teachings, gathering a substantial following. His teachings, or Dharma, offered a path to end suffering, through understanding the nature of reality, developing ethical conduct, and cultivating wisdom and compassion. With his enlightenment, Buddha set forth a new path for spiritual seekers. He didn't claim divinity, nor did he propose a blind faith. Instead, he offered a practical path, grounded in human experience, towards understanding the nature of existence and achieving a state of peace and liberation. The birth of Buddhism had begun, marking a significant shift in spiritual thought and practice, whose ripples continue to influence millions around the world today. Buddha didn't just attain enlightenment, he shared his wisdom, known as the Dharma. Buddha's teachings, or the Dharma, are anchored in the Four Noble Truths. The first of these truths, the truth of suffering, acknowledges that life is filled with suffering and discontentment. The second truth, the origin of suffering, identifies desire and attachment as the root cause of this suffering. The third truth, the cessation of suffering, asserts that by overcoming these attachments, one can attain a state of complete liberation or nirvana. The fourth truth, the path to the cessation of suffering, provides a guide on how to achieve this liberation. This guide is known as the Eightfold Path. It's not a linear journey, but a comprehensive approach to living that involves right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Each aspect of the path is interconnected, and together they form a blueprint for ethical living and spiritual growth. Central to Buddha's teaching is the concept of nirvana. This is the ultimate goal of Buddhism, to reach a state of absolute tranquility that transcends the cycle of birth, suffering, death, and rebirth. Nirvana is a state of complete liberation, not just from suffering, but from all forms of worldly attachments. It's the extinguishing of the flames of desire, hatred, and ignorance, and the realization of a profound peace and inner freedom. Buddha's teachings were not just philosophical musings, they were practical instructions for leading a life of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. They emphasized compassion, mindfulness, and the pursuit of a deeper understanding of oneself and the world. These teachings were the foundation of Buddhism and continue to guide its followers. They offer a path towards inner peace, ethical living, and ultimate liberation. They encourage us to examine our actions, our thoughts, and our desires, and to cultivate wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. In the next scene, we'll explore how these teachings spread across the globe, shaping cultures and influencing millions of lives. These teachings were the foundation of Buddhism and continue to guide its followers. Buddhism didn't stay confined to India, it spread, influencing many cultures along the way. Imagine a ripple effect starting from the heart of India, reaching out, touching, and transforming numerous societies in its wake. That's the fascinating journey of Buddhism. The spread of Buddhism wasn't a sudden phenomenon, it was a gradual process occurring over centuries, facilitated by various factors. One of the key figures who played a monumental role in this dissemination was Emperor Ashoka. Ashoka, a ruler from the Maurya dynasty, converted to Buddhism after witnessing the horrors of war. His change of heart led him to promote peace and Buddhist principles throughout his vast empire. He sent out emissaries, not just within his kingdom, but also to distant lands, carrying the message of Buddhism with them. Buddhism first traveled east, reaching the ancient lands of China. One can imagine monks traversing the challenging terrain, sharing their wisdom and teachings with the Chinese people. The Chinese embraced Buddhism, integrating it into their own socio-cultural fabric, resulting in unique forms of Buddhist practice. From China, Buddhism made its way to the Korean peninsula and eventually to the island nation of Japan. In each place, it morphed and melded with local belief systems, creating a rich tapestry of Buddhist traditions. Buddhism in Japan, for example, gave birth to Zen, a school of Buddhism that emphasizes meditation and mindfulness. Moving south, Buddhism touched the hearts of people in Southeast Asia. Countries like Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam adopted Theravada Buddhism, focusing on individual spiritual growth and adherence to monastic rules. Everywhere it went, Buddhism left an indelible mark, influencing art, literature, philosophy, and ways of life. It offered a path of peace and enlightenment in a world often torn by conflict and struggle. Buddhism's influence expanded, shaping cultures and philosophies across Asia. It's a testament to the enduring power of Buddha's teachings, their ability to transcend borders and resonate with diverse peoples. It's the story of a ripple that turned into a wave that continues to lap the shores of human consciousness. And that, my friends, is the spread of Buddhism. As Buddhism spread, it evolved, giving rise to different schools and interpretations. This evolution is a testament to the dynamic nature of this religion, which has managed to stay relevant and influential across millennia. Let's embark on a journey through the main schools of Buddhism, Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. Each school, while rooted in the teachings of the Buddha, offers a unique interpretation and approach to the path towards enlightenment. First, we have Theravada, often regarded as the oldest and most orthodox form of Buddhism. This school is prevalent in countries like Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Cambodia. Theravada, or the doctrine of the elders, emphasizes individual enlightenment through self-discipline and meditation. It holds the original Pali Canon as its primary scripture, regarded as the most authentic record of Buddha's teachings. Next, we journey to the Mahayana school, the Great Vehicle. This school emphasizes the ideal of the Bodhisattva, a spiritually awakened being who postpones their own enlightenment to help others achieve it. Widely practiced in East Asia, including Japan, China, and Korea, Mahayana Buddhism has a rich collection of sutras and philosophical treatises. Finally, we arrive at Vajrayana, or the Diamond Vehicle, prevalent in Tibet and Mongolia. This school incorporates esoteric rituals and practices such as deity yoga and the use of mantras. Vajrayana holds that enlightenment can be achieved in a single lifetime, a notion distinct from other schools. These three schools, while different in their practices and interpretations, all share a common goal: the pursuit of enlightenment and liberation from the cycle of birth and rebirth. They represent the diverse ways in which followers of Buddhism seek to understand and apply the teachings of the Buddha in their lives. These variations reveal the dynamic nature of Buddhism, adaptable yet rooted in its core teachings. As we continue our journey through the history of Buddhism, remember that these variations are not divisions, but rather different paths leading to the same destination: the cessation of suffering and the attainment of enlightenment. Buddhism's journey didn't stop in ancient times, it continues to thrive in the modern world. As the world became more interconnected, Buddhism found its way to the West, blending seamlessly with modern spiritual practices. The teachings of Buddha, once confined to the Indian subcontinent, now echo in the halls of Western meditation centers and yoga studios. The late 20th century saw a surge in interest in Eastern philosophies, and Buddhism was at the forefront. Notable figures such as the Dalai Lama and Thich Nhat Hanh have played pivotal roles in this resurgence, sharing the wisdom of Buddhism with a global audience. Their teachings, often centered around compassion, mindfulness, and peace, have resonated with millions regardless of cultural or religious background. In today's fast-paced world, the concept of mindfulness, a core tenet of Buddhism, has seen a meteoric rise. From the boardrooms of Silicon Valley to the classrooms of public schools, mindfulness and meditation practices are being embraced as tools for stress management and self-awareness. This is the power of Buddhism, a religion that began over 2.5 millennia ago, yet still holds relevance and value in our contemporary society. Buddhism's wisdom continues to resonate, offering a path to inner peace in our chaotic world. It reminds us that despite the pace and pressures of modern life, the potential for serenity and enlightenment is within each of us, waiting to be discovered. In this journey through the history of Buddhism, we've uncovered its profound teachings and vast influence. We've traced its birth, the enlightening teachings of Buddha, its expansive spread, diverse schools, and its modern-day relevance. Our exploration has only scratched the surface of this rich tapestry, that there's so much more to discover about Buddhism's intriguing enigma. If you found this exploration of Buddhism intriguing, subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Stay curious and keep exploring.